Hello YouTubers, I'm Declan Ganley. I'm chairman of Libertas, which is a founded as a pan-European think tank to encourage the spread of democracy, accountability and transparency in the European Union. We're an enthusiastically pro-European organisation. We were founded here originally in Ireland. We are one of the leaders of the No campaign, the campaign to call for a no vote on this occasion against this treaty. The reason that we are calling for that vote is because we have studied the treaty very carefully. I've read it from cover to cover myself. This treaty is bad for Ireland, it's bad for Europe. Ireland's voting weight is reduced by 50% at the European Council, while Germany's is doubled. France's is increased by 60%. We lose our commissioner for 5 years at a time out of every 15 years. 5 years is a long time in any government, and although the yes side will say that indeed Germany will lose their commissioner for 5 years at a time, our response would be, well, first of all, their people are not getting to vote on the issue, and secondly, Germany not having a commissioner with a very large vote is very different to Ireland not having a commissioner and having a 0.8% vote after the Lisbon Treaty, where our vote is halved. We leave huge back doors open to taxation, interference in taxation. One is through enhanced cooperation, which is enabled via the Lisbon Treaty, where 9 member states or more can come together and introduce something, for example, like a common corporate tax base, or other policies where destination taxes could be imposed on goods and services coming out of Ireland, which is very important because when businesses set up here in Ireland to export into the great market of almost $500 million that Europe is, they come here to address that market, not because they want to be in a market of 4 million. Destination taxes being imposed on our business would be a disaster. Our tax veto is useless in that situation because we cannot veto something that takes place amongst a group in enhanced cooperation. And very worryingly, there is a back door left open because we don't have a protocol on tax. We have a veto, but we don't have a protocol, and the protocol would be much more secure. And we are very concerned that there is new language that is introduced in this treaty where it says that where the common commercial policy makes the common commercial policy an exclusive competence of the Union, and leaves us vulnerable to a challenge to our low corporate tax rates, not on the basis of tax, but on the basis of it being what would be called an unfair distortion in competition, where we risk an adverse ruling by the European Court of Justice that would rule our low corporate tax rates illegal, in which case we could no longer maintain them. We need to secure our position against that possibility playing itself out. Most of all, and very importantly to us here in Ireland, we are through, for a number of reasons, our constitution and the Crotty judgment, the only member state of the Union that's having a referendum on the Lisbon Treaty. Giscard d'Estaing, the original author of this treaty, said people will be led without knowing it to adopt the policies we would never dare present to them directly. That was his boast about this treaty, and it's very true because and he spoke the truth where that is concerned. We need to remember that the people of France and the people of the Netherlands already voted against what is in this treaty when it was called the European Constitution. There is almost unanimous agreement amongst Europe's leaders, including Bertie Ahern, that this is somewhere between 90 and 96% the same as what was in the Constitution that the French and Dutch people said no to. Sarkozy campaigned to say that he would bring the French people a mini treaty. Instead, he brought them a document that's almost 10,000 words longer, and what he did to make it what he called a mini treaty was reduce the type size and close the line spacing. That was his idea of a mini treaty. He failed in his duty to the French people. The Dutch government have failed in their duty to respect the wishes of their voters. If there were referenda held on the Lisbon Treaty across the member states of the European Union, Europeans would, I strongly believe, and indeed polls bear out, vote a resounding no. Why? Because we don't want an unelected and unaccountable President of Europe We don't want an unelected and unaccountable foreign minister of Europe, which the Lisbon Treaty creates. We do not want people representing Europe on the global stage, purporting to represent us as European citizens without a mandate, without legitimacy. How can our president, as Europeans, go to China, for example, and talk about the need for greater democracy in China when nobody has voted for them? Europe has got to work. Europe has been, at minimum, it's been the most successful peace process in the history of the world. But it's been much more than that. It's been wonderful for European prosperity. It's the reason that I voted yes in every European referendum that we have had up until now. 3 members of the Irish cabinet, the current members of the Irish government, voted no to previous treaty. I voted yes every time because I am pro-European. I believe in Europe. But Europe belongs to the close to 500 million citizens that live within her borders. It does not belong to a small, unaccountable elite in Brussels who we can never hold accountable at a ballot box. We need to say no to the Lisbon Treaty, send it back to the drawing board, and get in return a treaty, a constitution that is legible, that the people of Europe can understand, that everybody can get a vote on, and that can help Europe lead the world to a place worth going to, and that shows that Europe is legitimate, that Europe's leadership is legitimate, that we can define a future, not just for Europeans, but for the whole world, that's worth having, founded on the great principles of democracy that were born here in this great continent. That's the Europe we want. It's not the Europe that we get in the Lisbon Treaty. And aside from that, the fact that this is just a bad transaction where Ireland is giving up more than 60 areas of sovereignty, having our voting weight halved, losing our commissioner, leaving these back doors open for taxation, and getting absolutely nothing in return when giving those things up. Aside from that fact, fundamentally, this is about democracy. Power is vested in you, in the citizen, and you delegate it to government and to lawmakers. More than 80% of most EU member states' laws now come from Brussels. We have no means today, and even less means if the Lisbon Treaty were to be ratified, to hold those that make our laws and govern us accountable at a ballot box. Let's change that. Let's make Europe a real democracy. Let's make it a shining light for the world and a place that we can be proud to bring our children up in, and that can lead the world to a place worth going to. Thank you.